This is the seventh and probably the final video on gravity. The original study began because in looking at gravity I was impressed by the inverse square law and wondered why gravity followed an inverse square law with change in distance between the two bodies. It is often thought that is associated with the three dimensions of space in the same way as the radiation energy from a point source is distributed also in an inverse square law manner. But that's because there is something being emitted in all directions. And gravity is not like that. Gravity exists between two bodies. And I came to the conclusion after studying this for 4 years that it was not caused by a force that was distributed in all directions, but was caused by the constant energy and constant momentum of two bodies when they were not physically in contact and therefore unable to transfer energy from one to the other. Now, the conclusion I came to was that the inverse square law does not apply at all times to two bodies that are in free fall. It only applies in the situation where the bodies are not moving toward or away from one another. In other words, if you take two concentric circles, the force of gravity difference between the two circles is proportional, inversely proportional to the square of the distance they are from the center. It's not true of a body that is in the process of falling, because I believe that as the body is falling, actually the acceleration decreases as it approaches the other body. But that's perhaps another subject to be discussed at another time. Gravity is not really a force. It is a constant path. And I think that this is in agreement with Albert Einstein's curvature of space principle. One of the advantages, I think, of the system that or the theory that I've proposed is that there's no limit to the distance between the bodies. It would be true for an enormous distance, which of course is already believed and accepted. But it's also true for very short distances, right down to one quantum of length, at which velocities would approach or reach the speed of light. So I think there's no limit, and therefore I think that the theory could apply to other forces than gravity, some of the stronger forces. Finally, I've been very impressed by the simplicity and the genius of the design of the universe, and it reminds me of the words of the Psalm, when I consider the universe, the heavens, the work of thy hands, and the moon and the stars, each in its place, what is man that thou art mindful of him? That's the conclusion I've come to, that this is a wonderful universe with an incredibly simple but effective design. I hope these videos have been interesting.